Greetings, one and all. So you know those kooky little videos? There's been a few of them out there that have popped up in the past where somehow, some way, someone's car just kind of starts driving by itself. Usually it'll go around in a circle and people are chasing it down frantically, trying to get into it to get it stopped before it kills somebody, perceivably. Well, I'm bringing you a 1919 era version of that same story. So we were in maybe just getting out of the Model T era. Crazy stuff. I didn't even know this kind of stuff could happen back then, but apparently it can. Hey everybody, how you doing? Steve the Amateur Historian. It's July 12th, 2021, so you know what that means, a new day, a new story. But before we get to that, remember as always to like, share, subscribe, hit up my Patreon. Hey bus driver, have you hit up my Patreon yet? No, he just keeps driving. Anyway, I'm trying to post there multiple times a week. There's a lot of extra content there for you, but you can only get access to it if you become a Patreon supporter today. So head on over there and do that. The link to that is in the description with this video, as well as the links to my Instagram, Facebook, TikTok, and my Reddit subreddit pages. So all that said, let's go back to 1919. So we have a couple of blokes that worked for the Northwestern Electric Company in Portland. Never heard of that company. I've only heard of PGE and the various kind of big, Portland, was it Portland Power and Light? I don't know, maybe Northwestern was like this kind of smaller end sort of company. I don't know. These guys worked for it, and they were in the vicinity of what today would be Northeast 3rd and Holiday. I don't know exactly how close in vicinity. I only know that much because those are the only roads that are mentioned in this story. So these guys have a vehicle there. The fact that it says these guys are representatives of this electric company, I feel like the car in question was probably a company vehicle. I assume sort of company vehicles existed at the time. I could be wrong, but there's construction afoot. Anyway, so as the story tells it, and the story is told in this very farcical, comedic way, not really taking the whole situation super seriously, maybe because nobody died or whoever wrote the story didn't have to deal with the repercussions, and they thought this is a funny story for the print media. And as it's told, apparently this vehicle was in a spot where they wanted to place some wood. I don't know why they specifically had to place wood right there where the car was. I don't know why they couldn't set it a few feet this side of the car, a few feet that way. Apparently the car was just in prime wood stacking territory. And why these representatives of an electric company, I don't know. I guess you use wood to create fire. Maybe you're using that fire to create something else. I don't know why I'm trying to figure that out. And so they were like, it's all right, take the emergency brake off and just give the car a little push it out of the way, and everything will be great. We can put our wood here, the car's right there instead of right here. Everything's fine, everyone's happy. So they do that, they give the car a little push, and the car just proceeds to take off. I don't know how, I don't know why, because it seems they didn't turn the vehicle on. They just released the emergency brake. So I can understand if you're on a hill and the car starts shooting off down the hill, that's sensible. There's nothing to stop it, and there's a hill. That gravity's just gonna pull it down. But that wasn't the case, because the article specifically states the car started speeding off down Holiday, which is up by the Max tracks go through there. It's up by Lloyd Center and the Rose Quarter and all that stuff. It's going through the Lloyd district, and that's a flat road, flat as can be. Like it was back in 1919, it still is today. There was no real downward pull to make the car take off. It was actually it had turned itself on, as it seems, and just started taking off. And as it did so, because again, there were two guys here that were pushing it. One guy was maintaining a grip on the vehicle as it started to take off. So when the car started to speed away, it took him with him, and he tried his damnedest. He was hanging onto the side of this car that's going by itself. He's probably freaking out, thinking there's some kind of ghost or paranormal involvement here, because that's what people just assumed was always the case back then. Oh my God, this car's possessed. And he tried to pull himself back up in there and get in there to manage to stop the vehicle, but he couldn't. After a short distance, as it is described, he got, I don't know if the car jerked or if he made the wrong movement, but he got thrown from the vehicle. He didn't just get thrown from the vehicle. He got thrown into a potato field where they were growing potatoes. Just thunk, spuds. Now he stinks of potatoes. And he could only just sit there and watch the car continue on. Fortunately, something speeding along at that pace, a little something like this probably isn't going to stop it. You need something pretty big to stop a car that's taken off like that on its own, and there's no one in it now to operate it. So you need to get something pretty big in its way. Well, fate decided a house located at what was then 227 3rd Avenue North, which would be Northeast 3rd today, and it wouldn't be 237 nowadays. It would have a different address. Here's an image of what that area looks like today, because I always try to do that just to show you what it looks like. I'm guessing it was somewhere near 3rd and Holiday. There was a house there, and the car went straight at the house and plowed right into the home. And the home was there to stop it. Now, fortunately, it wasn't your classic, it blew through, the front window and it took out the whole living room and all that stuff. It wasn't that dramatic in a story where, an old 1910s era car takes off on its own. The front end of the car managed to get in a little bit, but the cab area was too big to fit in, so it just stopped right there. And it's great, the newspapers, they actually got a picture of the car wedged into that basement window in the aftermath of it plowing into the home. So you got that here as well to show you that's the car in question. That's the house in question. And thank God when you got a runaway car, a lot of people back then are going to see that and be like, oh my God, what's happening? Thank God that car didn't, the guy that got thrown didn't get killed. The other guy didn't get killed that was working there. And fortunately, the car didn't plow anyone down either. So yay, hooray, no death. It's always nice when you can escape a story like this without death. It makes it easier for me to laugh at it. And, I gotta say too, when you look at the picture, the little kind of canvas covering or whatever it was over the car, that got pulled back. But it looks like aside from that, even the car actually didn't look like it was in that bad a shape. Obviously something needed to be adjusted. But I'm just saying, you rip that part off and you got yourself a convertible, an electric company convertible. I don't know, maybe they did that, probably not, but I'm just trying to make lemons out of lemonade of, the fact that a car ran away in a time where that never happened. People probably freaking out, and hey, the worst thing that happened was a little property damage, and it wasn't even that bad. A window needed replacing. When you really think about it, this actually really wasn't that crazy of a story in terms of its climax. But, just the moment I saw the story, I started thinking of those videos you'd see on America's Funniest Home Videos or any of those knockoff shows. World's Wildest Videos. Strange American Television. I don't know. And you'd see videos of cars going around in circles. And someone would have to wait till it came around and try to jump on and get in and stop it. Immediately triggered memories of those kinds of videos in my mind. I thought, runaway car in 1919, how the hell could I pass that story by today without covering it? And I wonder if the boys got in any trouble for what happened. Technically, when you think about it, they're on a level ground. They were just going to release the emergency brake, push the car a little bit. People do that all the time, and the car usually doesn't just take off on them like that. There really was no reason for them to think that was going to happen. So like, did the guys really get beat up too much? And one of the guys kind of put his life at risk by hanging on to the car. Maybe you let it go, but at the same time, I feel like even if you're moving a car like that in the old days, probably would have been beneficial if one of them was literally sitting in the driver's seat. Instead of just one guy pushing and one guy, I guess, hanging on the side, or he may have been pushing too, and when the car took off, he was just like, oh, he was just clung for dear life. And it just happened that way. So, I don't know, and I guess you can kind of give the guys a pass because no one got killed. I mean, who would have thought that that would happen all of a sudden, you know? So that is today's story for this day in history. I'd like to thank you so much for stopping by. Thank you so much for supporting the series that I'm doing here, among others, supporting this channel, for supporting me. If you want to help me out a little bit more, new to the channel, haven't done it yet, what have you, just remember to like, share, subscribe. Hit up my Patreon. Again, I'm trying to post a lot of extra stuff there for you that you can only get if you join that today. The link to that is in the description with this video, along with my Instagram, Facebook, TikTok, and Reddit subreddit pages. All that said, until next time, it's been Steve the Amateur Historian, and I'll see you tomorrow.